Hey, welcome to AI with Fizzy. Now, on this week's episode on CareerFunFridays, I'm going to walk you through two new topics. One of them given to me by a friend, and I thought, hey, it'd be really good to kind of like discuss this with you all. And the other one I was thinking about for the past few days. So the first one I'm going to walk you through is how to future-proof your career. Get this quite a lot, thought about it quite a lot in terms of people just don't know how to future-proof their career, and more so in AI. So I'll give you a bit of my personal experience as well as personal advice in terms of how to navigate your career, especially around AI, as AI is starting to develop its way into many different sectors and different job roles. And then the second point will be, is pay or passion the moral compass here? And what I mean by that is, do people prioritize financial security or are they prioritizing their passion? And I want to ask you a question. Would you take 50% of your pay right now if it was to do the work that you're passionate about? Stay tuned in AI with Fizzy this Friday, and yeah, stay living AI. To the more juicier part. This one, I'll try and make it as juicy as possible, I promise. But yes, I think when we look about navigating our career, there's always a time in human history when we needed to. And I think in this scenario where we stand today, the number one conversation or huge topic of discussion right now is incorporating AI. And most recently, even in my line of work and my employer, they sent out a very large newsletter saying we need to incorporate AI to pretty much everything that we do. So the onus is, leveraging AI to kind of help speed productivity and speed the workflow. So long are the days where you may have a task or a project, or you're working on something where it may take you 2 to 3 hours to kind of figure it out, piece everything together, and then distribute it out to the stakeholder, where you can probably get it done in an hour or less. You can ask, generative AI tools like Gemini, ChatGPT, you can use Grok AI to kind of give you a more faster approach to the end result. They can help and support you with the code you may want to use. They may help and support you with description, the layout, slides, if you have a slide deck to present. So I think the best way to kind of navigate your career is currently sit down and think, all right, what is my job description? And some of us kind of get lost in that realm as we start to pick up work. And what I mean by that is we spend a lot of time in our working environment. We kind of can allude to losing what the job description is, and we pick up extra work that we didn't need to. But I always encourage, look at your job description, because that's first and foremost the contract that you signed. And you've agreed upon two parties, between you, yourself, and the employer, that you're going to fulfill and do this work. But look at your job description and understand, okay, in this current market, what AI tools or what tools can I use to help leverage my role? Now, don't think of it as AI taking over your role. Think of it as like a personal assistant. And that's how I view it in my workplace, which is I will use AI as a personal assistant if I need it to, in case I'm stuck or it's taking me far too long, longer than it needs to for me to figure out something. I'm like, okay, cool. Go on Google or Gemini or go on ChatGPT and be like, okay, I'm stuck in here. What am I missing? Kind of thing. So leverage it as a personal assistant, or in some cases you can leverage it as your analyst. You can leverage it as your go-to-market strategy person or as your marketing person. And I'm saying this as a whole to kind of say, yes, I believe this is probably the best way to navigate your career. And obviously it depends on your job title and your job description. So again, if you're a plumber, you won't tend to use ChatGPT to help you because it's more hands-on DIY. But if you're somebody who works in the office, or somebody who leverages sheets, or somebody who leverages project management, or anything really, apart from the DIY stuff, but you can use ChatGPT or generative AI tools to kind of help and support you in making you more productive, but also make you work more efficiently. However, I would always caveat, take it with a pinch of salt, in terms of, depending on the ask, the longer your ask is, the more data you'll feed in the machine learning model, which can be great, but sometimes you may not find the answer that you need. And I've definitely come across this before, where I've leveraged ChatGPT to be a personal assistant and it just not give me the kind of results that I needed. But I used it as a guideline, or as a guide tool for me to get to my end result. So before, where it could take me an hour to finish a task, it now takes me half an hour, so half the time expected. And now I can focus on other things. So again, how to navigate your career. One way is through leveraging AI. If your job role permits it, I would highly encourage leveraging AI to ensure that not only do you work effectively, but also, you're making yourself more efficient, as well as your business more efficient, and it just gives you extra brownie points in your company. I think, you've got to be AI driven, right? So yeah, that's one case scenario. I think another one. Yeah, so another way you can navigate your career, it's not just thinking about AI, but just thinking about you and your journey and yourself, in terms of, having that drive. And I spoke about this in probably episode 1, where understanding your drive. But I think how to navigate yourself or future-proof your career would be to have the ability to network, and have the ability to be more of a people person. And I'll give you a really good example, which is, I always thought of myself as an introvert. I'm not the most talkative person. Even in meetings, I will say my 5 pence, 10 pence, probably £1 in that meeting, and that's it. A lot of people talk a lot more than me, and I'm happy with that. But I tend to kind of keep quiet. I like to observe. I like to be like, all right, just give me the task and I'll get it done. And then I think it was in my career around Meta, where I had a conversation with a manager, and they noticed that, you're an introvert, etc. And they said, for you to grow or for you to progress, you need to come out of your shell and not become an extrovert overnight. No, you can still be an introvert, but include yourself in meetings. So, and not just in meetings, but in socials. And this is one of the things that I had to learn over time, which is the power of networking within your organization. And this is the second point to navigating in your career. And then, yeah, so what I mean by in a world like this, I'm kind of alluding to the fact that there's so much opportunities that you don't even know about, that you can leverage just from networking. Like, take me for an example, somebody like me trying to get into AI ethics and strategy in the sports industry. I've been able to network, speak to people in my previous employment, to the current employment, to reach out to people on LinkedIn, to kind of understand, what tools do I need? Like, what do I need to do in order for me to become, not only from a technical standpoint, but from a descriptive standpoint, to become like a full-blown ethics and strategy consultant, especially on AI. So it's those kind of steps that you take that can help navigate yourself. Whether or not you want to pivot, or you want to stay in your current role, or you want to explore new things within your workplace, the power of networking is so powerful and it's so great. And I extremely encourage you to to do that, and the best way to kind of navigate your career, because it gives you, not only networking gives you, the tools and ammunition, but it helps you understand how value your role is. Like and I've had this so many times where I tell people, oh, this is what I do, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing, like, you're the person that does this. And I'm like, oh, so you've heard about me, you know what we kind of do. And it's kind of nice and flattering for people to put a face to a name, as well as being able to, give you the flowers for the work that you do, especially face to face. In my line of work, we tend to not get those flowers. It's kind of expected, but when we explain to them what we do, we get those flowers. So yeah, networking is absolutely key, and I'll say, use that as a tool to navigate your career for sure, 100%, and also increases your emotional intelligence as well. So those are the two things from navigating your career. I would have said, yes, leveraging AI is key and abundant, especially in the role that you do. But again, use it to become more efficient and more productive in your line of work. And then secondly, especially in the workplace, I'll say network is definitely key, and that's what's helped me and supported me in my current career journey, where I am where I am. And my trajectory in the next 4 or 5 years, I've got a mind map, I've got a plan for it, just through the fact that I've networked. I've spoken to a few individuals, and it's given me the kind of know-how in terms of what to do next, and how to appropriately get on those ladders and those footsteps for me to get to where I need to be. Alright, let's talk about this one. So, is passion or pay? Passion or pay? Moolah or grit, determination? It's a good debate, and I'll pose it to you. Please, in the comments down below, let me know. Are you more on the passion side of things, or are you more on the pay side of things? And I'll give you my answer. And I'll be completely honest with you. And I say this, I've been saying this for the past couple of years now, and I stand by it, which is I lean more towards passion than pay. And when I was growing up, when I was young, when I was doing contracting especially, pay was nice. I still needed passion. And the reason why passion is so important to me is I've said this for a very long time, and I'll share it with you, which is the most important thing for me is being able to wake up in the morning and feel like I've got the energy and the fire and the drive to solve problems, solve issues. And that's my desire. I don't want to wake up thinking, it's another day. I just got, go through these 8 hours today and just thank God that it's going to be 5 o'clock so I can look off. I'm more of, give me the problems, let me try to solve them. Give me the problems, let me try to solve them. I love solving problems. So I say this to say this, which is basically, the money will always come. If you're good at what you do, the money will always come. If you're passionate about what you do, the money will always come. And that's how I live, which is, as long as I show enough passion, enough grit, enough determination, I will always get paid just my reward to my passion. And you see it everywhere around you. If you go on social media, if you're following somebody on YouTube, on TikTok, anything like that, they have a passion for content creating. They may have generated so many 100,000s, millions of views, subscribers, etc. But that's their passion, and their passion have now rewarded them with income from sponsorship deals to webinars, anything like that, right? So passion for me always beats pay. Because no matter what, if you're passionate about something, and I promise you, if you're passionate about something, you will get your just reward. And I personally think that if you're passionate about something, you just enjoy it a lot more. and I see myself right now where I'm doing something that I'm very passionate about, and I enjoy it. I enjoy learning. I enjoy my current role. I enjoy everything about it. I enjoy the different challenges that I get every day. I enjoy it because it helps me expand my knowledge and my mindset to the role, but it also helps me to figure out, all right, cool, I'm at a place where I get to express myself a lot more, and that's what gives me joy, is being able to express myself and try different things. So that kind of gives you my answer, which is I would always go towards passion over pay. But on the other side of the coin, my friend, he posed the question to me, was very much on the world of pay. And we had a huge debate about this, back and forth for like 3 hours on the phone. Very long time to be on the phone with someone. But he was like, hey man, like, just give me, I just want to go where the money's at. You know, give me the money out. I couldn't care less if, you know, I'm working 20 hours a day. As long as I'm earning this amount of money, you know, I'm happy. And again, there's going to be people like that, and I respect that. I was once one of those people. I would prioritize pay over passion because I was thinking, let me just give me as much money and income as I can. And I understand it, you know, in the world and the environment and the economy that we live in, you know, we tend to prioritize the pay a lot more now than the passion. We're just trying to figure out, okay, does this cover the bills that I have, the extracurricular payments that I need to pay for, etc. You know, does it cover my food shopping? You know, does it cover, you know, the things that are going to be spiking up a bit? You know, does it even fund my leisure? People that love traveling, you know, I know somebody loves traveling every other month. Can it fund it? And we're starting to live now in a world where, well, from my point of view, where passion is no longer the number one seed, I would say, to career satisfaction. I think it's now pay. And I was speaking to a recruiter the other day, and he said to me, the amount of people I speak to on the phone, when I ask them what their free drivers for joining the company, they just said the pay. And when he goes back to the employer or the talent acquisitions team or the hiring manager, they have to give that information out and they say, hey, this person's more related to the pay. And he always come back to me and say, when I had this conversation, it's a bit tricky because some of them will be like, oh, we understand, but the top companies are more focused on, all right, they don't worry about culture, or they're not passionate about the role that they're applying for, or they're not eager, you know, to learn new things in the role. And he kind of said to me, which was, you know, he's now seen a trend where people prioritize pay a lot more than actually learning new skills, you know, trying to figure out, you know, their passion for the role, why they even apply for the role. They see a number attached to the role and they just automatically apply to it, whether or not they could be qualified or unqualified for the role. So then I asked the question to him is, you know, why do you think that people no longer put passion? Because I'm one of those people who put culture and passion and things like that when it comes to those questions being asked to me. I don't even put pay, you know, I'm top 3 to be honest. And he said the way the economy is in the UK at the moment it's a lot difficult for candidates to stay at a job for more than 1 or 2 years. They just want to make as much money in 1 or 2 years and leave and try and make another much money in 1 or 2 years. And I'm not going to sound contradictory because I remember in one of my videos I did say that I was told, or I was given the advice of every 6 to 1 year, leave a role, gain experience, and get a new job with a better salary. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite or contradictory here. So I understand it from that perspective, and that's why I asked him. The following question is, do you feel as if when they get into the job, they can develop the passion? Because I understand it from, okay, let's get more money, let's get more pay, but can they still get the passion as they work? And he said, well, from his perspective, his candidates that he gets, they tend to leave the job within a year. And that was alarming to me, which was okay, so it's definitely about the pay. And then I then had to realign myself and say, well, to the question with my friend now, is if passion is no longer seen as the number one seed and pay is, what's the emphasis for employers to hire? And then it goes back to my last question, which was, are employers making it easy for people to quit? And my 2 cents on this topic is, I believe that people are passionate. I believe people also want higher pay. I personally believe that people are not getting paid their just dues because I believe employers, with all the new tax and laws and regulations happening, it makes it harder for them to increase the pay. So I think 2 things can be true. I think people are very passionate, otherwise they wouldn't apply for it. But they're also really concerned about the pay because they may have families, they have a leisure lifestyle to live. So is pay or passion a better career compass? And some of you can say both, and I'll allow that answer. I'm going to stay more towards passion. Some people are going to stay more towards pay. I'm going to basically give you the advice that's been given to me, the information that's been given to me, which is having passion is the seed that grows the tree. Having pay distracts you from your end goal. And what I mean by that is, we can get paid as much as we want to get paid and still have a really good lifestyle. But that doesn't cement your personal brand, and that doesn't cement you as somebody who is seen in the world of work as a valuable member. However, if you're shown to have passion, you can grow exponentially a lot faster than you would if you was making the money now, as opposed to obviously making a lot of money now, then wait by the time building the passion and then growing that income over time. Now, not sound like a hypocrite, I understand pay is extremely important, and for those who do select pay, yes, I understand it, I get it. I side more towards passion, but also both can be true. Both can be true. So, yeah, that was quite interesting. I wanted to give you a bit more of a different perspective, a different view, and different value to it. And my question to you is, would you take a 50% pay cut if you was doing something you was passionate about? Or would you take a 50% pay rise for doing something that you absolutely hate? Think about your mental health for this one. But yeah, anyway, this has been AI with Fizzy, and again, thank you so much for tuning in this week's Career Fun Fridays episode 4, and as always, stay